What's up, everyone? It's Gavin or Tweek.
Bro, you are struggling today. Oh my goodness. It's Pinker Marcus. What's good? What's good? What's good?
What up? It's Charles or Chuck.
What's going on, everyone? You got Haz or Matt. First episode of the year, first tournament of the year. We got the first champion right here in the podcast. Let's go, Tweek. Let's go, Tweek. Good tournament. Let's make big moves.
Tweek.
Actually, I guess it was technically the second tournament of the year because we had Japan, obviously. But first one, NA. Big W coming in. No sets dropped. We're obviously going to get into that. And then also Umebura as well. So,
Yeah.
Hey, first one of the year. Let's go. What do you got to say?
Episode 83. Thank you to Chris from production and B for all the new artwork and stuff like that. Also, I'm really, really sick from the tournament, so my apologies if I suck. But yeah.
Can't win them all.
It's okay. It's okay. You didn't suck this weekend though. Yeah,
True.
That's the main thing. You were playing crispy clean. I loved it. It was really fun to watch, Gavin, for real.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I think the biggest thing to talk about when it comes to Let's Make Big Moves was all best of 5. Because that's not normally the case at a lot of tournaments. And it went really well. I saw everyone was really happy with it. I feel like it was on schedule. I remember seeing like top 16 or top 8 like start literally on the minute. So I guess that shows that it's possible. You know what I mean? And I had a great time with it.
Yeah, I certainly haven't seen any top players complain about it. It just makes those deadly, right before top 128, before top 64, like those dangerous kind of unknown hidden boss guys, like a little less scary. But then also it's good for people who go, who don't get the top cut of bracket, 0-2, 2-2, 3-2, whatever.
Just
you get
more
to play
games.
more games. Yeah, exactly. Or maybe get more experimental and try to figure things out. Because there are players too who aren't in the top cut of bracket, but also avoided things like getting upset early. Like, it would have been a 2-1, but luckily I had that extra game and I won 2 games in a row. And so I think overall, more games is better, obviously, but then also you get more consistent results. And I was saying that actually on commentary because in a best of 5, to me, that means more than if you beat someone in a best of 5, it means more than if you beat someone in a 2 out of 3. You know what I'm saying? Like if you beat Leo in a best of 5, versus if you beat Leo in a best of 3, in my opinion, it should be weighted differently. But that's like a whole nother discussion for a whole nother time.
Yeah.
It's
I feel like
something
no
we'll
one
have
would
to
even
think about.
disagree, like mentally.
Yeah.
It's that much more impressive. And
You have to win 3.
I don't know if
you have
y'all
to win 3
noticed,
games,
but I kept hearing whispers of like a lot of reverse 3-0s outside of like the deep parts of bracket, like round 1s, like reverse 3-0s like happened multiple times at like a bunch of levels of play. And I think that just shows that maybe best of 5 is a bit more healthy for the nature of this game. Rather than best of 3. And I doubt every tournament's going to be best of 5 from here on out or anything, but it shows that it can work and it shows that it's also really good. But yeah, with Smash Ultimate, like there's so many variables and matchup checks and rough situations that best of 5 seems pretty healthy. But yeah, that's just me. I know me and Hazmatt were there, but I would like to hear Charles and Marcus a bit too.
I remember a long time ago, Japan was running best of 5 all throughout the tournament, and people said, well, that's because it was singles only, right? Like you would have to cut off all the other side events, but Let's Make Big Moves like show that it was definitely possible that you could run side events and have best of 5 like all throughout the bracket. So I think with that being said, maybe not every tournament has like the space or like the staff for that, but maybe not whole tournament, but at least top 128, right? Like I feel like if you can make it to top 128 best of 5 instead of like, last day, top 48, top 64, like I think you'll see a lot more like different results and consistency among like the top players instead of, oh man, they got upset because they didn't know this like thing and they saved it for the second game and like they like saved some random gimmick and you like didn't know about it. Bless you.
Thank you.
So I don't know. It was super sick. It did feel like in the beginning some of the matches were kind of dragging on, but that's because you know, like when it's. I think about this when I'm at my local, where like they put early things on the stream, and uh, worse players don't necessarily know how to end stocks or end games, so they just naturally go longer. It's not like a bad thing or anything. It's just the nature of it.
That is a
And
bad thing. It is what it is. That's a bad thing, Marcus. What the heck?
I don't know. I mean, okay, sure. So, a lot of times I'm like, dude, like, I'll like play a set, like, and they already finished their first game, and I finished the whole set. I'm like, how are y'all still playing? You know, but
Yeah.
that I felt that on the stream where I was like, dude, like, this is taking forever. Is another set ever gonna start? Like,
Yeah.
and there's rarely like 3 O's in lower levels, like straight shutouts. So it's usually more games, and it's like, bro, like, come on. But for the people that are at the tournament experiencing the best of 5, oh, it's lit. Like, what the heck? But that
Yeah.
was just like one like thing that, for me personally, like some people probably won't even agree, but I was just like, dude, like, what's happening?
That was definitely my commentator point of view that day. Like I was happy obviously for best of 5 throughout, and that's great. But round 1, round 2, best of 5, it's not a great viewing experience, you know, and it's just not. But running parallel with that is the kind of, you know, we're on the horizon of this new technology of the quad stream. So you could just schedule it a little bit better. So it's like the early stuff is just on the quad stream, and then once you get to a match that's 3 rounds in or whatever, it might be something interesting. Then you bring in, dude, that opens up a possibility to do, while the early rounds are going on, have commentators on for a half hour doing a bracket preview and shit like that. Like it could change the whole format. It could
Yeah.
be really,
Wait.
really fun. Actually, like this is a
Analyst desk.
Yeah,
Wait,
well, yeah.
my
Please,
dream.
analyst desk, please.
My
I'm
dream,
saying.
dude. Me and Chuck on the desk.
What the
Oh
heck?
my
I'm gonna
God.
lose my job to Marcus. What the
Wait,
heck?
huh? You're a commentator. See if
I'm suiting
So-
up
Hey,
too.
you're funny, man. Okay, you're funny. Man.
What
you're
the
funny,
heck?
man.
Funny man.
I'm
What the
suiting
heck?
up.
Wait,
Put,
huh?
put me on the desk.
You gotta be.
Oh snap! He wants to be
one
on the
day
desk.
in.
Playing like
Gavin-
top 16 in a suit.
Gavin's gonna be like, bro, I'm kind of tired.
After my set, I go to the desk to like talk about
His
it.
DK tie. His DK tie. He's just like
Oh, yeah, of
standing up
course.
his DK tie. You know,
Oh my
gotta go to
God.
work.
Damn.
But
yeah,
I do agree with that.
yeah.
The format change, right? And I think the only con is lower level best of 5s are going to take longer for the viewer, which you can mitigate in so many different ways. Like Haz was saying, throw it on quad stream. Don't even stream it. There's so many different things to do to kind of get around that, right? And I think a quad stream with no commentators is the easiest way to do it. So it's just like, okay, cool.
Stop
we don't
it, Chuck.
necessarily have
You're giving away our
to have this
jobs.
block. Oh my God. But, I mean, if you want to commentate those matches, it's
Bro.
rough.
What are you talking about? We had so much fun when we did it. Wow. Were you lying, Chuck?
Well,
Did you
we're
not have
in
fun?
SoCal, so you know, SoCal players are a little.
Ah,
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. SoCal sucks. Leave me alone. But
What is this? What's going on
But-
right now?
the thing about just, I think it's so good for the player experience for the best of 5, right? I think best of 5. There's so many players that don't even get to experience that because you got to get to like
yeah.
top
A
32,
lot of
top
people
64.
even their first time.
Right. So it's very hard for newer players to even experience that. And when I used to coach, you know, just publicly, and I like coached a lot of lower level players, that's something they would express to me. Some of them would be like, I would be like, okay, let's pull up some tourney VODs. Some of them wouldn't even have best of 5. Some of them wouldn't even have offline tournament VODs and would be going off of online tournament VODs and stuff like that. So just accessibility to the lower level players and giving them more experience, because when you think about in terms of most lower level players, they don't have like a sponsor or anything like that. So they're paying all this money to go to a tournament, right? Hotel, flight, all that stuff, to any format that increases the amount of games you can play in the tournament, right? Because even, and I think you all can agree with this, the only way to simulate somewhat of a tournament match is to do a money match. But that's still not the same, right? If you beat Tweek in a money match, what does that mean? It's nowhere even close to being Tweek in tournament, right? Or Leo or any top player like that. So, I mean, the money matches do have weight. You know, you can up the ante. You can make it like $1,000 money match. So then all of a sudden it becomes more impressive, right? Like we've seen $1,000 money matches in Smash before. So
You ain't catching
definitely
me doing
wouldn't
a money
be
match. I don't do
right.
money
And I mean, most top players don't even do it just because of the whole like someone. It's like the whole annoying thing of, okay, I'm not playing in tournament. I kind of just want to either play friendlies or something, and someone money matches them, and then all of a sudden something's on the line, and then it's just annoying to hear, oh my god, I just beat Tweek in a $1 money match against his Donkey Kong. Like,
I'm
or
already
some-
stressed
whatever,
enough,
right?
like in the actual bracket. Why would I do a money match?
Right, exactly. So
Let me minimize my nerves.
my main point is lower level players get more bang for their buck for the tournament. The only
Yeah.
con is the viewing of the earlier bracket, because at least if it's just, a best of 3, like Marcus said earlier, lower level players don't know how to push advantage state as hard or seal out stocks as early, so the matches tend to drag a little longer, which is fine though. I mean, again, I don't mind commentating those matches, but in best of 5 it just can drag on for a really, really long time. So the viewership might go down a little bit, or people just might not be interested. But I think it's worth the trade-off if the TOs have the resources in terms of the the staff, and you have to have setups too, right? You need space, you need setups, you need staff. So this isn't easy as just like, oh yeah, any tournament can do it. There's a reason why other tournaments don't do it. It just depends on their resources.
What the heck happened? You guys went soft. You guys are suddenly saying it's okay to not have a good advantage state and not close out stocks. What happened? When is that okay? That's never okay.
I mean, you just can't.
No,
Well,
I'm
I
not
know
saying be the
that.
best. I'm saying that's
But
not
everyone
right.
starts. You don't know, like this could be their first tournament. This could be the second week they're playing the game.
That's
Who knows?
fine. Don't
right?
put it on my screen.
I only want top players. I mean, usually,
Not only-
and
no, even sometimes, honestly, those early rounds are really fun to watch because it's very even. So there's it's like a classic commentary debate. Would you rather watch like top player against like, someone who's not going to make the top
round
cut,
1,
or
round 2?
yeah, or someone or 2 players who are going to do the same? My answer is always 2 players who are going to do the same, because at least it's going to be interesting. You don't know what's going to happen, and that's more interesting to me than just a top player just like outplaying somebody. Obviously, I'm just kidding, but at the same time, it does affect the viewer experience, and it does affect the commentary schedule and stuff. I'm saying there's a better use of the time, is what I'm saying. What about the squad stream? Now we have 4 slots where they can get VOD review and all that stuff, and something
There's a
that
lot of
like
options.
there's something that good tournaments do too, like Shine. Shoutouts to Matt.Zeb. That's like a way throwback melee name. He's the man. They do like redemption brackets, and they do lane shift brackets and stuff. So you can play in tournaments all weekend. It doesn't matter if you're 1-2 or 2-2, or it doesn't matter if you got top 64. Like, you can enter all these brackets and play for, I think it's like prizes and stuff, or like entry fee. I don't know. It's like for a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, like you guys said, the in-person experience is so important, especially with Smash. So we got to keep it going, keep it moving. Anyway,
I guess we can get into the bracket now, right?
I was gonna say, speaking of the in-person experience, I love the crew battle. I thought that was super fun.
Oh yes, crew battle.
That was fun. Yeah, I thought that was a good event.
Hey, Gavin, how do you feel about it? You love crew battles, right?
No. But I feel like I can't not do it, because I feel like my presence on the team has too much impact, as arrogant as that sounds.
I mean,
It feels like the crew battle is missing something if I'm not there, whether it's for Tri-State or South Jersey or whatever. So there's 2 different kind of crew battles. So we did South Jersey versus SoCal, but Ju just never showed up, so we lost. Jackal just didn't show up. And then I get a text from Jackal later in the day. He's like, yeah, tomorrow we're doing Tri-State versus Georgia, Florida again. And I'm just like, what is going on? Why is the person who didn't show up texting me this? And I was like,
dude.
Okay. I'm just gonna go Sephiroth if I play. Like, that's sorry. Like, I'm throwing mildly. And that's what happened. And we won, and I was very proud. I feel like everyone on our squad did really well except me. But that's good enough to win. So I was very proud. Like, Syrup did fantastic. Jackal closed it out. There were some other ones. Damn, I'm so tired and sick. What happened in the crew battle?
Which one? The state. Which, by the way,
Tri-State versus Georgia, Florida.
As a viewer, like sitting at home, I'm looking at the bracket and I'm like, oh, Ohio versus South. Oh, blah blah blah, and then I just see Mexico, and I'm like, in what world are any of these states gonna beat Mexico? Like, what? This isn't even. Why? Like, I was just sitting there like, this is so unfair.
When I found out the format was like 3v3, I was like, okay, I get it. Like a bracket 3v3.
The thing I like about
they
that,
still had a pretty big advantage, obviously.
Well, the thing I like about it though is it incentivizes crews to roll in together. So it's like, yeah, damn, that's unfair, but maybe next time we get better, stronger representation. You know what I mean?
What state is beating Mexico in a crew battle?
None of them. I'll be honest.
Japan.
That state is awesome.
You got,
Great state,
yeah,
great state.
incredible
Well,
state.
Mexico's not a
State.
state. What the heck?
Well, yeah, that's what Marcus is
That's
saying.
what I'm
I
saying.
know. That's what I'm saying too.
I was like, dude, what is this? Like, there's no way they lose. I don't even know.
The south portion of New Jersey versus Mexico, the country. That's really. Let's go.
New York split in 4 different ways versus. I was like, dude,
Well,
what?
right, because now you could just do like a tri-state all-star team. You're saying that wouldn't be competitive? Of course it would be.
It
Versus
would, but
Mexico? Yeah,
no, I
it
get
would,
I
but-
get why it happened now, and it's because it was a
Well, you have
And
to have a bracket. You have
the
to have
3v
more than like
yeah.
1 or 2 teams. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
3v3 aspect made it more doable for everyone. But
Yeah.
yeah, but we won the Tri-State versus Florida Georgia, which is cool because now we're 1-1.
Yep.
So that means we have to do it again,
Mhm.
and we just have to figure out when that's happening, and that will be the one. You know what I mean?
Will you go Diddy for that one?
So I'm probably going to be stuck playing that one too.
Yep.
Depends on my mood. If I'm in a bad
Or
mood,
will you go
no.
Diddy?
If I'm in a bad mood, I'm not going Diddy.
Bro,
Let's
let's go.
go.
Donkey Kong.
Let's make moves, Columbus, Ohio. Then you guys go because it has to be neutral territory, right?
It has to be
Yeah,
neutral.
sure. Let's make moves.
Let's do it. Let's do it in like another country.
Let's say no. You go to Mexico and then separate. You know what I mean? Then it's like USA All-Star team, like it's
Yeah.
the crew.
Let's see how you like it.
Mexico's
Against all the
by
different
city.
regions of all by cities, all different
Right.
regions.
Versus
Honestly,
the United States.
Mexico,
South
though,
Mexico
kinda
City versus-
stupid. Split up the Mexican. Oh yeah, they would go kind of insane because I think some of the players are all from the same area, so
Yeah.
they might actually.
They are, yeah.
We'd lose.
Well, yeah, it backfires.
It would be very
Right,
embarrassing.
dumbasses, you lose anyway. Like, that's great. Damn.
But that's
Yeah,
about
But I
it.
like the
I feel like it started the energy really well for the event. Like
Yeah.
it was pretty loud in there.
well, every
Yeah,
crew,
and I think-
go ahead, Chuck.
I think Smash. I mean, when we think about back in the day, it was a lot about regional pride. I don't think there is as much regional pride as there was, back in like the Brawl or the Smash 4 days. But a lot of the roots of Smash and even FGC is regional pride. So, and I like the bracket style single elimination and a way to open up the event too, and then you can kind of pivot into singles and stuff like that. I know Genesis 3 was probably one of my favorite crew battle brackets. Very historical crew battle bracket. So I think Let's Make Moves kind of continuing the trend of crew battles and keeping it going and keeping it in the ultimate scene as a cultural thing is really sick.
Exactly, Charles. And I love that it's like one of its signature things that it has. Like Shoutouts to Max, who I'm pretty sure is the brain behind that. I mean, it's his whole event. So what happens basically is up to him. But him and his whole crew for putting it on and making it such a staple of this event is, like you said, it's important for the culture because that's such a staple of Smash is like, pride in your region and your players and all that stuff. So I want to see it. Like it's gotten to a good point here for sure. Like there are a lot of really good players and really good teams playing in here. I want to see it better next year. Like I want to see like the crews, you know what I'm saying? Like I want to see something crazy, and it's always Tri-State versus another crew too, which has been great. We need to expand that as well. Actually, no, it needs to be Florida and Georgia again for the run back. True. Best two.
Agreed, yeah.
We need at least
Also,
one more.
True. Cool.
Those regions are pretty insane, so it makes sense that it would be those two.
Yeah.
Right.
I wonder what the third, like another region would be. I guess the Midwest was doing really well. Like Ohio did
Man.
really well in the
Yeah.
crew battle.
I got second.
SoCal's not even top 3 U.S. regions. Feels bad, man.
Nah.
Well, MSM's back. You guys start leveling up again.
MSM's back.
True, y'all about to
Level
level
back.
up.
Oh my god.
It's back. Well, it's every other week though, so it's gonna be slower.
So we're
level
not
up.
back. We're back at half power, right?
Yeah, for now.
But yeah, I
for
think
now.
there's no contest in terms of. I think all 4 of us can agree the 2 strongest regions in the United States are going to be Tri-State and that South
Florida, Georgia.
Yeah,
Yeah, Southeast region. Yeah,
very
for sure.
very powerful region.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Like-
That roster went deep too.
We're, I feel like we're comparing us. We're very different too, like play styles. Like it's
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of cool how like
Yeah.
the environment you're from can like form who you are as a player. So
Well, and
Y'all
the
can't
character
be.
pools too.
yeah, let's
Tri-State campers.
If we just sum it up,
Oh, good matchup.
I mean,
I like that.
Tri-State is team
Actually.
fundamentals. Duh.
T3 fundamentals. True, actually. You got fun.
It's funny though because Georgia has it's like they have crazy rushdown and then they have Sonic players. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They have very
You got the other side to an extreme, like more than us.
yeah,
Right.
extreme parts of the spectrum, you know.
Roy, Captain Falcon, Ken, and then Sonic. Like,
it's
Sonic
just-
I'm sure you've had enough of being rushed down. Let's
yeah.
slow it down.
Let's take it easy a little bit here.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the singles bracket. Are you ready, Gavin, to talk about your
Yeah,
run?
I can talk about my run. Do you want me to do
Probably top
everything?
128. Probably start at top 128.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we can start with best of 5. So what was your first best of 5, man?
Round 1.
Round 2.
True. Oh, you got a
Yeah,
buy.
Yeah, you got to buy. Okay,
Ooh,
he's
come on.
seeded.
Yeah, but it was a best of 5 buy. It still is.
Best of 5.
It has to be.
Okay.
Can't catch me slipping.
Hot set. Yeah, I won my first few matches 3-0, all Diddy. And then for top 128, which was Saturday, my first match was against Squid Plumber's Richter. And something that's interesting about my first 2 matches of top 128 is if it was best of 3, it would have been 2-0 for me. But both sets ended up being 3-1. So it shows that like best of 5 could go deeper and it's worth doing. But yeah, against Squid Plumber, I feel like the games I won, a couple of them were really, really good. And I made there was a pretty close game I won as well. But yeah, I was up 2-0, lost a game, and then just had another clean victory.
Bro.
Did he?
I think Diddy Belmont's pretty hard.
Okay.
Haz and I might start arguing, but I think it's losing for Diddy.
It's either slight losing for Diddy or even. But I always say this with Belmont matchups. If it's even, that means it's a pain in the ass for the other character because they're able to do something, which is annoying.
Yeah.
So it's either slight losing for Diddy or even is how I feel about it. But yeah,
Yeah,
not an easy matchup, that's for sure.
Yeah, I feel like being ready really helps though. I feel like if you just picked up Diddy, or if you're not super technical and you're just playing basic Diddy Kong, like it's the type of character that you'll just like super dread fighting. I feel like you got to work extremely hard, and I feel like any matchup where Diddy starts to struggle, obviously you got to start doing like execution heavy things to keep up and stuff like that, and that's why those matchups can be so tough. But yeah, I win that 3-1.
Bro.
And then I played J-Jaw.
Quick interjection. Sorry. I was watching you versus Squid Plumber,
Yeah.
and I messaged Haz. I was like, bro, I think Gavin is playing terrible.
Yeah.
I watched the first game, and like you 3-stocked him.
It's
I
funny.
said this to Haz. I was like, you 3-stocked him, and I was like, but Squid couldn't even hold the controller. Like, bro was just
He has
too
deep
nervous.
too, yeah.
Yeah, too nervous. And then game 2, I was watching, and I was like, Gavin is playing really bad. Like, he's missing every follow-up. He's not catching the banana, like, missing every ledge trap. Oh, this is brutal. This is going to be rough. And you lost game 3, and I was like... And then game 4 started, and I was like, I think he needed to lose one. I think he needed to lose a game to really, like... Oh, okay, hold on.
Yeah. It's funny because, like, even y'all in the podcast are like, oh, good job. You played great. And I don't think I played great overall. But I think like there was just moments where I like just won and like played like good enough, and I feel like that's the case for like all of my sets. Like there's so many. Sorry.
Oh no.
There were so many sets where I really had to bounce back. My second set in top 128 was J-Jaw. I've actually been terrified to play J-Jaw's Kirby for a while now. I was like, it's gonna happen someday. Like it's Kirby and it's a really good one, and you've never seen this in your life. And Diddy Kong definitely destroys Kirby, like on paper, but then if you dive into it, like there's definitely Kirby. Like Diddy has a hard time with the weirdest characters, so like I was expecting like to hate everything playing against Kirby as Diddy, and I didn't want to go Sephiroth either because how do I hit Kirby? It's like we both can't hit each other. So I just played Diddy in that set, and I won 3-1. It was pretty dominant, but like Marcus said, like I lost at game 3 specifically, like last hit. But then I just like won the 4th game. What's crazy about this set is J-Jaw 3-0'd Apple, the Steve player, going into this set with Kirby, and Apple switched off of Steve to Ice Climbers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's wild. I was expecting to fight Steve, and I was actually excited to fight Steve. It's been a little bit for me, and I was gonna go Sephiroth versus Steve from now on, like any Steve player. And like I hadn't played Sephiroth yet, so I wanted to, and I expected to because Kirby versus Steve. But I played J-John instead, so just another Diddy match. And then my closest set of the event was Anathema. I would say maybe like close to some other ones. I had a lot of Game 5 stuff, but this one, like I was down a full stock Game 5. And I think it's the best a Rob has ever played versus me, honestly. In a long time, like other than like Zachary's Rob. I won Game 1. In Game 2, I was about to win. I SD'd, and that's where I think everything started. Anathema played really defensive, got really valuable hits when it mattered. But Game 5, like with that lead, after getting a significant lead, did like a greedy laser in the corner, and I got my neutral air dare, and like from there, like I feel like it was just like I just had a little more gas in the tank in comparison. So that was one of those sets that like decided my entire weekend. I'm proud of myself for staying calm. I felt very collected the entire set, which is crazy because of all the pressure in Game 5, and I'm losing, and I SD'd in a crucial moment. Like, so like despite not thinking I've been playing well, like the entire event, like kind of like hot and cold, I was proud of myself for like staying alive, of course. But I just had a bunch of wake up calls, like Marcus said. And then my next set was probably my favorite win of the tournament. Whenever someone beats me, especially if it's multiple times in a row, I pretty much dedicate my entire existence to wanting to beat them. And this was like the number one person in the event that I wanted to beat, and it was Riddles. Game 1, I think I was winning the whole time and lost, which is like usually what happens when I play Riddles.
Checks out.
Game 2 starts and I get 0 to death. And I'm just like, well, like this, it's just replaying itself again, right? But winning that game was so huge for me. The fact that I was able to win that when it was like a worst case scenario. I did at 0 and like 30 or 40 for 2 of my stocks. So basically it was completely unfair, but I still won. And I'm super proud of that. And then I feel like I just ran away with it the next 2 games, especially Game 3, I think. Hollow Bastion worked out really well those 2 games. And I just practiced really hard for that one. And a lot of my strategies worked really well. And that's what I'm most happy about. That I like really studied up. I even played some friendlies with Riddles, like learned a lot, and just worked really hard for it. And that was my favorite win of the event.
I wonder what your win rate is on Hollow Bastion, because I feel like
it's getting crazy, huh?
Rarely see you lose there.
Yeah, I love it. Have I talked to y'all about it? I really like that stage's layout, like a lot.
Yeah,
And you liked Smashville, and it's similar to Smashville. Obviously, there's differences in it, but
Yeah,
I know
I feel like I haven't loved
your
Smashville in a while. Like loved it.
Yeah,
With Diddy, like he's so good everywhere, but like I feel like I've been banning Smashville. Like I usually don't ban stages really, but when I was playing Spargo's Cloud, I was like, no more Smashville. I can't play the game. So
when I think of when you loved Smashville, that was like your Wario phase.
Yes,
I remember
Wario.
when you were a Wario main, it's like it's just like, man, you don't take Tweek to Smashville when he's playing Wario. Like you will get destroyed because you would. It's kind of like Leo's Ike, where there's always an extension because you're fighting for center stage, right? So the extension is always there in the center stage. But
yeah,
I don't know what it is, but Hollow Bastion.
It's so comfortable.
Just like, a little bit more room.
It's like not too small, not too big. Like the platform layout's great for Diddy. I feel like I get banana enough while still like getting a lot of aggression and like pressure.
You have room to play. You can still go underneath it too, right?
Yeah, I can go under every stage that doesn't have a wall that they've ever had legal.
Yeah.
So yeah, GG's. You can't
One thing
take me
I
to
really like.
Kalos, you can't take me to PS2, and I'll go under every other stage. Diddy with
You
walls
went
is
under
broken.
you went under PS2 a lot too, though. Not to the other side,
Walk
but
Yeah.
yeah, but you stayed on the same side. But
Discount Kalos.
And then I think everyone's favorite or like most anticipated was me versus Leo. And that's another thing, like playing against someone like Riddles and like having a crazy tense situation and being able to win, and like my reward is I get to play like my biggest rival. Felt really good. Like I worked hard to get to that spot. And like the anathema stat was even crazier. So I was happy. I felt like I kept my cool in so many different situations that were very scary as a Diddy player, because it's not like I'm just going to kill you at 0. Like I have to I only got one early stock in all these situations, you know what I mean? But yeah, and I know everyone wanted to see me versus Leo's Joker. And I was pretty impressed with Leo's Joker because obviously he hasn't played me with Joker before, like my Diddy, that is. And I just expected Leo to be uncomfortable, but I think he played it. I think he has the foundation set already without ever playing against me, which is pretty cool. Because I played I've actually played the matchup on both sides. I had a Joker phase for a bit, and I played with Rivers and stuff. And I kind of know what Joker has to do if he wants to win. And Leo actually did it pretty well. So I think it's pretty cool that like it's only going to get harder, because I like, not to sound arrogant, I thought he would have to lose to me a couple times to figure out the foundation for that matchup. But he was clearly like a bit more ready for it than I thought. So game 1 was last hit. And game 2, I like won like a little solidly, but it's like Joker. I think I was like at 50. So I guess it's not like super dominant. Game 2 or game 3, I made like a pretty crazy comeback, which is like so huge. Like going up 2-1 instead of being down 2-1 is insane. But yeah, his Joker played it phenomenally in a lot of situations, I think. But game 4, I feel like I had it figured out for that set. I played pretty well at the start of that game 4.
Bro, you were mixing, bro.
Yeah.
Everybody was tweeting about that. They were like, bro, did you see the cross up down 2 in the blood? And I was like,
Yeah, those first 2 stocks were like very
ooh.
cool.
You're doing the dash attack, cancel, like jump, turnaround tech a lot too.
Yeah.
There was a sequence.
I hope people even
there's
realize that's what I did.
It's just so hard to react to. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I
think this was such a anticipated matchup too, right? Like you said, this is the first time Tweek's Diddy versus Leo's Joker ever happened. And I remember when you were picking up this character, one of the big pluses for you were like, oh, Diddy does well versus Joker. Like, I think this is going to be my answer to Leo's Joker. But
Yeah.
Leo switched characters in quarantine as well.
Yeah.
You picked up Diddy in quarantine, and then he picked up a pilot in quarantine. So we really never got to see the showdown. That's right there. That clip. So
Yeah.
good. That was the dash attack cancel to like you dash attack and then you cancel a jump. You have to pivot the item toss around. Really hard to react to. And then obviously Gavin also reacted to the fact that he was on the other side. So incredible play. This set, it was really fun to watch, and it was just a clash of something that everyone has been anticipating for such a long time: the Tweek Diddy versus the Leo.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we finally got to see it.
It feels like a summit where like it felt like it was grand finals, and it definitely wasn't.
Yeah. And I
like-
think you said it. Oh, go ahead.
Like to the people, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I
The
think you said
viewers.
it. You said it well too, Gavin. Where this was great. Obviously, it was chapter 1 though of this matchup. You know what I mean? It's going to change a lot over the next. And it was the same thing with Leo when he first picked up Jokers. And this is like relearning how to ride a bike. You know what I mean? Especially learning matchups like you haven't switched off Diddy or stopped playing Diddy completely in. I don't even know how long. It's been a long time though. Like you've been pretty locked into him for a while. And then Leo's Joker is de-rusting now. I think he knew that going to this tournament too. I don't know if his expectations were to win immediately, or I mean, they probably always are with him, is always to win. But I know obviously that this is setting up very nicely for Genesis. And a lot of people are talking about the big 4 right now, which are you, Leo, Spargo, and Acola, of course. So I thought this is like the perfect way to kind of set up and get ready for Genesis too. So I'm looking very forward very much forward to the next time that you two play and seeing exactly what he's got cooking up, because you know he's gonna change a lot. Like it's not gonna say it's not you can't just do the same shit again. It's not gonna work. There's no way.
That's why I feel like he played it way better than I expected. Because I think it's a really good matchup for Diddy, but I think Joker has a lot of good potential if Joker like camps and plays super defensive, and I feel like that's exactly what Leo did, especially when the matchup was going well for him, like just chipping away with gun, outmaneuvering me, and just making it really hard to even up the game. And I think that's the main core for Joker winning this matchup, and I feel like Leo did it like immediately. So that's like I'm definitely looking forward to playing it again because he's already like pretty proficient at it. But yeah, I win that 3-1. And then I basically just watched Spargo versus Gluto just to see who I was playing against next, of course. And Gluto has definitely done it before. I think Gluto had won the last couple sets or something like that. And I was basically just watching, and if Gluto like won, I was going to warm up Sephiroth because I haven't played Sephiroth in the entire bracket yet. But if I played Spargo, I was just going to go all Diddy. And Spargo won, so I was like, all right, I'm not even going to bother warming up Sephiroth yet. And then me versus Spargo, like, how many times has it been game 5? I'm getting sick of it. I feel like we both, especially him, because he's like, he won a few times in a row. I feel like his adaptation is so dominant and quick. It's just like robotic almost. It's really frustrating to play against. And like, I take so much damage every hit. I can't play the game. Can't get my feet on the ground. But yeah, I obviously kind of like the Riddle set. He was like number 2 on the list of people I wanted to beat this weekend. And I figured if I made it all the way into the bracket, it would be like me and him at some point. And the things I specifically practiced, I credit to the win. But it's definitely scary that it has to be that close. So I'm going to continue to study it. And I feel like Spargo just guessed right in so many spots. Like in the scraps, like every cross slash connected, got like a bunch of grabs. It's like, what is happening? You're a robot. Like, and losing that guessing game or that scrap versus Cloud isn't good. Cloud does like 20 damage like per stray hit. Like it's a lot.
Right, and then his advantage state just does so
yeah,
much.
And you go to the ledge every time. So it's really tough. But regardless of the back and forth, it's another situation where I was super down and I was able to win. And like in a tournament environment, I can't help but be super proud of myself because like that is so difficult. Like I'm pretty sure game 5 started and Spargo just cooked me. Like didn't have much percent. And I don't want to undermine my character, but Diddy is definitely not the greatest in that situation. Diddy is definitely a character that tries to like hold a lead and like make the game really hard for you when he's winning. Like Diddy isn't like Kazuya or like Joker. Like I'm not just gonna make a comeback. Like I'm gonna have to deal like hundreds of damage to bring the game back. So, and that's exactly what I did, and I was really proud of that. Especially versus a character as oppressive as Cloud. But yeah, I practiced a lot of specific things for that, and it really paid off this time to give me the win. And then grand finals, it feels like the same thing, honestly. Like just crazy adaptation back and forth. So, but I do want to hear what y'all think about like some of the later sets from me.
Okay, the only thing I really wanted to talk about was actually there's two things that I want to talk about. One's like a statement and one's a question for you. So you were playing Spargo. It was the last game, and on the
Grands?
last in Grands, and on the last stock for the rest of the set, you had been ledge trapping from pretty much like further back, like a little bit further back with the banana behind you. But on the last stock, I noticed that you just kept down tilting the ledge, and I was like, "What is happening? Like, what?" Because that's not something that you normally do. You don't
Yeah.
normally you don't normally like hit the same option over and over again. At the super top level because you're expecting something else, right?
Yeah.
But I was just watching and I was like, dude, like, how is it possible that you're correct, but it feels like you're not changing anything? I was
Um,
so confused.
you're exposing my practice that I didn't specify, but
Oh,
so
Dang.
basically,
Hey,
like
whoa, the secrets, man, the
my
secrets.
bad. I
that
mean,
is the
hey,
secret. But
my bad.
you're good. I think it kind of all connects into the idea of like, I did stream yesterday. Like, I really want to keep practicing, even though I'm feeling terrible. Um, and a lot of people were asking like certain questions, like, "Oh, why did you do this? Why didn't you do this? Like, why didn't you do this combo instead of this combo? Like, why'd you do this combo instead of this combo?" And I think a lot of my decision making all connects into the same idea of like fanning Cloud off stage, and like Cloud's on the ledge, right? And I'm just like pushing and pushing and pushing and like trying to fan Cloud off. Like, I use a lot more forward air, a lot more down tilt at the ledge, and just putting as much pressure as I can off stage. Um, and I'm just really happy that it worked out because a lot of people gave me different advice. Not to say that they're like giving me bad advice or anything, but I'm glad that I figured it out myself and did my own thing.
Did you like save that like because you didn't really
No,
do
I
it
think it all just
as
connected a little
much?
better at the end, and I think I
Mm,
just had the momentum, and Spargo was just playing really fast,
true,
which is
true.
which is rough. And I feel like I do the same thing when Spargo's ledge trapping me. I feel like we just
Hmm.
like it's usually Spargo being impressive, but this time I feel like I gave it back to him a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it all connects into the idea of like, oh, I'll do forward throw combos instead of a down throw combo sometimes, or I'll go for a back throw instead of a down throw.
Mm,
Like, it's a similar idea rather than like sitting back and like trying to catch Cloud like in a different way when it comes to the corner pressure or ledge trap. Like, when he's there, I want to keep him there and make the most of it. Not only because of like the character Cloud is, but also because of how much damage I take in that exact situation.
mm.
So my goal was to try to even the playing field a little bit, and I think that's what happened in like pretty key moments. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, good
Yeah.
question, honestly.
Bro was on the ledge for the like pretty much
Yeah,
the
it was a
entire
while.
last stock. I was like, what? Why didn't you do this the rest of the set? I know it's
Yeah,
not easier said than done. Way easier said than done.
yeah.
But the other thing I wanted to ask, and this is more so outside of Let's Make Big Moves and more so just you in general, but what do you feel like has changed as a player? Because you have been extremely consistent recently. You've pretty much only lost to one person.
Um, it reminds me of a conversation I had with some other top players this weekend where they asked me about like my practice regimen. That's like a fine question, like people are just curious. And I told them I play for 2 hours a day. Like, I just stream my practice, and that's all the like. If I'm not live, I'm probably not playing. Sometimes I play once in a while, with like Haz or something, like in a Discord call. It's obviously not the same as like super grinding, but yeah, it's usually 2 hours a day on a stream. And I set this to for myself a while ago. I think I've talked about it on the show where I used to burn myself out every day. I used to play until my brain was mush, and like physically I was exhausted. Like, I wouldn't eat. Like, I would just not take care of myself, and I would just play until I knocked out. And like, you know, I specifically set a regimen for myself. I think I could play more a day, but that was my starting point, and I've kept it like that for a while. And then like everything else, like it is still Smash related. Like, I try to get my exercise in. I meditate a bunch, like sports psychology books. I'm sure people remember the Summit 3 interview. A lot of people had questions about that where I talked about like what I'm working on. And that's just more important for me. And it's funny because like the top players that were asking that question, they were surprised because they know I'm a grinder, and that's true. But I'm starting to dedicate myself. Not even starting. It's been like a couple of years now. I've been doing this kind of regimen for a while, um, and it's kind of like I've done so much of the dirty work, right? Like, my execution is very consistent. I've just put more hours than almost anyone on the planet. Even if I continue to do this for the rest of my life, like I've just put in so many hours regardless. And yeah, like, and then when I'm at a tournament, like I'm super focused on that kind of stuff outside of the bracket. Like I only recently started playing friendlies at tournaments, and it's because of my competitive fire to grind with Cosmos and Light. We kind of practice every tournament, and it's because when they take games off of me in friendlies, like I just get so pissed off that I want to keep playing with them. And I think that's pretty healthy too. Like I'm usually not the biggest friendly guy because I'm really big on like emulating the game in my head, and like it sounds crazy, but most of my sets in a bracket, a lot of the key situations that happen, whether it's winning or losing, like I consider everything, usually plays out in my head already. And that's the big thing for me is just like mentally like considering everything before I sit down. So that's just how I prepare personally.
So you started playing friendlies and you started with getting first and second. Interesting.
It's
That's
like
all it takes.
it's like I'm getting humbled sometimes. It's like with some of these guys that I play with that like give me a super hard time. Cause it's like I go into pools the next day like super on edge in like a good way. Like I make the most of every hit. Like I'm super trying hard not to get, cause I'm so used to playing these guys that like hit me and I die. Like I can't do anything. Like, yeah, you got hit and you lost. And when I play in tournaments, sometimes it's pretty surreal because like I'll get hit and I won't die for it in some other matchups, or like I play my disadvantage better, and like I'm like, oh, I can do this. I have more than just one.
Play the game.
I have more than like a couple chances to win. And like I've never verbalized this until you just mentioned it, but like I think I can figure out like why. But like yeah, like Aegis and Fox especially, and just those two in general, like just so annoying. Like it's just so frustrating playing with them. And
Shoutouts to Light and Cosmos.
yeah, it gets me ready
Mad annoying characters.
for anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, big shout outs to them. I feel like we grind with each other, and we're also very supportive. Like we're watching each other's matches. Like, yeah, like we're just like some of the really good players in the United States, and we've known each
Regional
other.
camaraderie.
We've known each other for a long time.
That's how Mexico does it. What the heck? They all play together all the time. They all
we're
piss each other off all the time.
Becoming even better friends, tournament by tournament, and I'm thankful for that. And they're just great guys, and they're really competitive. And yeah, it's definitely, I'm very grateful.
Yeah, hey, it's working out for them too. Cosmos beat Shattuck, who's been his bracket demon for I don't even know how many.
Some good runbacks for us.
Yeah.
Light beat Zomba. Light lost to Zomba last time. Their sets are pretty nuts.
They always have good sets.
Yeah, like just
and Cosmos picked up Corrin, which is really funny. He's been playing Corrin again.
I'm proud of the experimentation. Like putting yourself out there. Putting yourself out there is really tough,
especially in that matchup. You play against Shattuck, that's tough.
Yeah, so respect, and it's good data. Like as crazy as it sounds, there's no better time in terms of data to experiment than like the biggest stage. Obviously, it's risky, but I've been there many times, and I feel like it works out in the long run. So I think it's cool that he did that.
Definitely. I think a related question too, because, and we talked about your run already, and there's a lot of potential in here, combination of players and character wise, for you to mentally just tilt. Whether I know you hate the Belmonts. I know that's obviously a thing. You dropped a game to Squid, so like there was potential right there. Like you could tilt, drop another game, drop another stock, and then snowballs and whatever. Same with JJ, like you said, you're afraid of Kirby, who isn't obviously, who plays committing that much time to Kirby and becoming a top Kirby player is insane. Anathema too, like that was just that game 5 last stock or whatever. Going very in a matchup that you pride yourself in doing very well in. And then then you look at things like Leo and Arsene, and then just Spargo existing in general, and his pressure, his advantage state is being so good and frustrating to play against. What have you I've noticed you, because one thing I always do is I always watch your player cam when bad things are happening.
Yes.
And you were very poised throughout the entire weekend. You like barely, even when you lost games, you didn't do shit. You just sat there. What is it, something with this tournament or something you've been working on for a couple tournaments, or how is that working out so well for you? Because I think that's something you've always been trying to work on.
It's been years. years of working on it. And progress isn't linear, which is like I think a big topic on this show. But I do think it came together for this weekend specifically, and it was enough for me to win, and I'm really happy with that. But I also know like so many of those sets, if I lost, like no one would be surprised because they're like game 5, like. So I want to win like more dominantly. I would like to like beat these players 3-0 next time or 3-1. Like,
You want a cushion? You want a little game cushion? You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I want to win super hard. Like if I could JV4 everyone, like obviously that'd be awesome. But at the same time, when you look back on it after winning, having those close sets only feels right. Like sometimes these Smash tournaments feel scripted, like with how close they get and how ridiculous the situations are. So as a viewer and a fan, that's also beautiful. But yeah, I'm always trying to like stay ahead, and I would like to be very ahead of my peers. But yeah, I've been working on that kind of thing for years, and like some days are harder than others, some tournaments are harder than others. But yeah, I do think I stayed very composed. Like there's so many things I do like in and out of the game to try to like find the right balance of focus. Cuz you don't want to like over focus, and you also don't want to like distract yourself too hard. So I'm always working on that balance. And it sounds silly, but I also was just so exhausted from playing so much, and like a lot of these competitors, including myself, like we don't eat when we're playing in bracket. And like I'm so tired. Like after I won winners finals, I kind of wanted to pop off, but I'm so tired that I didn't. I didn't even want to pop off after grands. I did it because it felt like I had to.
Yeah,
I
of
did
course,
like
a pop off. What the heck?
So I did like a little one because I'm like, it felt like it feels like
It was
it
a
felt
good
like all the eyes were on me to like do it, and I was like, okay, I'll do it. But like,
Okay, fine. Since you guys want me to, fine.
yeah,
I
stop
guess I will.
begging, like, geez. But I was just so
gonna
locked
say,
in and so exhausted that I felt like it was a good level of focus. But it was just a good day of like just staying focused, like doing all my methods I've been practicing for months and years even, and like I just held it together. And, you know, it's not always going to be perfect. But I think it was like solid enough to keep me going, and I'm just going to continue working on that. Like the biggest thing for me after, like even immediately after the win, was I was immediately watching my sets. I was immediately thinking of what's going to happen next time. And I think that's a really big one for me because I feel like everyone can naturally get complacent, and that would be so much more frustrating for me than how exciting this win is if I got complacent afterwards. So I'm going to work even harder from now on. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to piss myself off thinking like, oh, you won that tournament and like your effort like went down a little bit, even if it's just a little bit. Like I want to like really stay on top of myself with my regimens for improving in Smash.
Yeah, you got goals, bro. Genesis coming up. Time to make it somewhere. Time to top 8 of Genesis.
Jeez, I've never top 8'd Genesis.
It's funny you win this tournament and the goal is to top 8 Genesis. I think
it's not the goal.
No,
but
it's not.
Very good stepping stone. It would be nice. It would be nice to play on Sunday. Jeez.
I think if you top 8 Genesis, you win.
Yeah, you carry that momentum. Like,
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Just let me play on that stage for once. Jeez.
You've been dude. I don't want to say anything because I feel like we're jinxing it if we say anything.
Yeah.
But you've been so consistent. No, because it's not jinxing it. Because it's not like, yeah, I think you got this. It's like, dude, like factually, you have been so consistent recently. Mentally, you're good. You just got to rest up. Obviously, I think that's the biggest hurdle right now. Is that you're now you'll
sure
be fine by Genesis. But it just sucks.
Yeah, like 2 weeks.
It's bad timing. Yeah, we got 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weekends basically. Yeah.
After this podcast, I'm out.
Couple games of Unite, then you're
dude.
I want to practice Smash too, but like I don't know if it's a good idea, you know.
Right.
All right, Gavin.
Uh-oh.
I got some questions. With the bracket. So I unfortunately was not at Let's Make Big Moves. Huge shout outs to Joe and Max. They always kill it with their tournament series. And fun fact, Let's Make Big Moves and Let's Make Moves series, at least when everyone that's in Tri-State has always been defended by someone in Tri-State. So good shit, keeping the tradition going, Gavin. You defended your territory, so really sick to watch. Um, I was able to watch most of the tournament from Hawaii. I'm still in Hawaii, just taking care of a bunch of family business. So the FOMO was there, especially since you want to. I was like, I'm missing out on New York pizza and the Gavin W, but it's all right.
Yeah.
But
In
nonetheless,
that
it
order.
was
In
sick
that
to watch
order.
in that specific order.
Yeah.
But one thing I know, after the Scuffed Invitational, when I was driving you back to your hotel, we had, a pretty long conversation about Spargo's Cloud, and obviously I don't coach you anymore, but I kind of, and I don't really have time to put into giving you like straight advice, but we kind of broke down the problems, right? Like what are the issues? And I know one of them was, instilling the fear in Spargo. Spargo's so good at just
Yeah.
knowing when and where to swing and when and where to shield. So every time you feel like you retaliate versus him, you get shielded in the up smash and stuff like that. And then other than that, it just feels like Spargo's always swinging some kind of bear, some kind of fair, some kind of really long range move that if you get hit, take 20 damage, advantage state until like 80 or 100 about, right? And also, the other frustrating thing that you were talking about and that we just kind of discussed was the recovery. We're just like, man, it just feels so hard to get the GIMP on cloud, right? And one thing that was really cool to watch you do and find, like, I really like the solutions that you came up with for these problems, which for me, I mean, obviously coaching you before, it was kind of brought a tear to my eye. I'm like, man, like, just you figured it out really quick and you executed on it really quick. One thing I want to say is you were a lot more bold with short hop fair in neutral. And I know
Yes.
when you think about Tweek's playstyle, and if you've been watching Smash for a long time, Tweek is a very conservative player. He usually wants you to swing first, whiff punish with banana, very movement based, trying to move around your swings. And Tweek doesn't really like to guess much, but I really like that you were down to gamble more against Spargo and be like, all right, Spargo, well, you like to gamble. Well, guess what? I'm going to gamble this fair. And the cool thing about that specific rising fair, especially if you catch Spargo trying to drift in and swing, you get NDI. And so you were taking huge advantage of that in neutral, because I was like, yo, hold up. Like, you would just fastball fair again. And then if there was like another DI in, you could maybe get another aerial or another tilt or something like that. So I really liked how you didn't necessarily instill the fear in Spargo, because at the end of the day, he's still going to swing. He's still going to play the game. But you were able to put some sense of like, hey, you can't set up with Cloud all the time. You can't just empty hop in my face over and over and just,
Yeah.
I'm going to be scared of you swinging all the time. So I like the fact that you were down to gamble and neutral and kind of establish like, hey, you can't just short hop and full hop in my face for free. And then the other big one that I really enjoyed watching was I started noticing this. I was like, so Spargo, and this is a very spacey mentality thing too. And I used to play Cloud in Smash 4, so I really understand this. There's a lot of situations where you take more damage when you DI a combo by the edge, but because you take more damage and you DI in. So since you DI in, certain characters will have better combos or extensions on you, right? But since you DI in, you're closer to the stage. So it's like, oh, I took 20 more damage, but I'm closer to the stage, so I don't have to necessarily burn double jump, or just maybe a simple directional air dodge without burning double jump will get me to the ledge, right? So this is something you're going to see really common with like Little Mac, Cloud, Fox, Wolf, like certain characters that rely on their double jump a lot, and that's where their mix is. They'll DI in to take more damage. And you started abusing that a lot. Like, you started up throwing and getting like double aerials on Spargo if he DI'd in, or you'd hit an aerial by the edge and notice that he DI'd in, and again, just line up the double aerials and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed watching you kind of abuse some of these tactics that are good specifically for Cloud, and that Spargo uses a lot to push Cloud in terms of like, okay, I might take more damage, but I'm not getting gimped, right? And that's the thing about Spargo when you're watching his Cloud. It's just crazy because it's a very rare occasion that he gets gimped off stage at like the mid, even like 70 or 80, right? Usually Spargo is losing stocks in the triple digits or later. And if Cloud is losing his stocks triple digits or later, you're dealing with a lot of on stage Cloud, which is generally going to be so hard to deal with. So in
Yeah.
terms of specific changes against Spargo, just because we had that conversation after the Scuff World Tour, it was really sick to see your adjustments, and it was really sick to see you apply them. Did you have any more like thoughts on those specific interactions?
Yeah, it's kind of similar to what I was talking about with like a lot of the recommendations I had been given. I honestly didn't really. I might have only taken one and actually used it. a lot of them I actually looked in the other direction. And it's not that I don't trust people or I disagree with them, but for me, I just kind of had a feeling that it wasn't really the answer. Because I think most people have a pretty poor understanding of Cloud. I think it's because of how big his buffs were. And it just reminds me of like other characters. Like Byleth is another one. It's like they simply just forgot that the character got like pretty huge buffs. So a lot of people are just so confused. They're like, "Wow, Tweek sucks. He's not edgeguarding Cloud," and like I don't even care. I'll say Cloud's recovery is good, and because they buffed his ledge snap, like
It's crazy.
people don't even talk about that. They
So-
might not even know that. So I put a lot of my apples into different baskets, and I think it paid off enough to win those 2 sets. Because I knew just simply going out there, maybe it'd be the case for another character, but I don't know if it's fully the case for Diddy Kong. And I just trusted myself. And for a few days, I didn't really know what to do versus Spargo. I'm usually pretty quick to come up with adjustments, whether they're big or small. Even immediately after a loss, I'll know what to do the next time, or at least where to start. With Spargo, it actually took a little bit, but I do appreciate everyone like jogging my brain. But yeah, I think people don't understand Cloud. This character is extremely messed up, and his recovery isn't bad.
And he's better than Wolf. True.
Yeah,
The topic.
is.
The topic has took the long haul topic. It's scaling.
Easy.
His opinion's scaling.
I love it. I
The
love when
leg-
we throw out like which character's better or which character. I love when we do that. It's definitely
it is a
Cloud,
great
though.
Conversation, and I will say, the consistency.
Cloud's better than Fox too.
Well, yeah.
Whoa.
What?
Well, Fox is better than Wolf.
That was the one right there. Yeah.
Okay, so well, maybe I don't know. I slowly but surely as every day goes by, I'm softening up. My opinion on Fox vs Wolf is softening. But
Nope.
I will say Cloud's recovery is looking a lot more consistent and feels a lot more consistent as every tournament goes on. Like
Because
there's
it
so
is.
many times where I see like someone go for a 2-frame attempt, like, and I just watch Tweek versus Spargo is going to be one of the matches that come up just because it's happened so much recently. But I just see the Diddy forward tilt overlap Cloud and the ledge, and I'm just like, wow, that did not hit.
It's just a good recovery.
Diddy forward tilt is a very fucked up 2-frame move. Like it's really, really good. It hits below the ledge. Like it hits all the check marks for being and it's active. It's very active too. So insane. That up B buff was so crazy for Cloud.
Yeah.
They buffed his recovery in more than one way as well, technically, because he gets limit faster and keeps it longer, along with the ledge snap. These buffs are ridiculous for a tournament setting. And then they buffed a bunch of other unnecessary things, right? Like his kill power.
Dash attack,
smash.
yeah.
Dash attack and up
Dash,
smash.
dash,
like-
dash, yeah. Bro, the thing with his recovery too is Spargo. A lot of the time, even when he has limit, he holds on to it. Like he either air dodges or he's
Because the
able to
ledge
shoot,
snap is
yeah.
that good now, yeah.
Yeah, he could just make it there, man.
And
I don't know.
you turn blue, you get that drift. God.
Yeah,
Kobe.
you're moving for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of clouds, shout outs to Enhanced, by the way, Marcus, your region.
Oh,
Reverse
yeah,
3-0.
that's my goat.
That was
That's
clean.
my
That was
goat.
clean. Good set.
That's my
Onin,
goat.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a
Feature,
run back from a game 5 at main stage, so
I always say there's a few people I think are like the feature of the region, and Enhance is definitely one of them.
Definitely. No question.
Yo,
no question.
And what's weird is it
PinkFresh
kind of feels
blessing?
like it.
Oh,
Yeah, usually I don't give them out often.
I was
The
gonna
last
say you
time
don't
I-
give those out.
He won't give it up, yeah.
Yeah, the last time I did it was ZD. Wow.
Oh
Um,
my god.
What? He's good. He wins like
Yeah,
everything in the region.
Okay.
And sometimes he pops off in majors.
I thought you were going like the other direction. because
No.
how you-
Who'd you say?
ZD.
Oh, ZD. I thought you were saying
I wish
Smub.
ZD would perform more consistently at majors. Like
What about
we all
Smub?
know how good he is.
I don't give Smoke the
Third place
Dang.
this weekend.
the future of the region blessing. I don't give it.
Win over Mutace this weekend. Where were you?
Smub is mad good,
That's what I'm saying.
but Smub plays Ridley. See you. Future of the region, you have to be a good character. You do.
Dang, Pink is even telling his own region what check marks you have to hit.
Yeah. That's why
Nice.
I think
Okay.
Peanut is absolutely insane. I think Peanut could be one of them, but Peanut plays Little Mac. There's no way he's gonna be the future of the region. But he'll be like a top player of the region, but nah.
Keeping it real.
Damn.
There's a bunch of other players to talk about other than myself as well.
Like Sonix, God, that
Sonix.
dude is goated.
Yeah, he's so good.
Insane.
Big
So I-
boss.
Big boss.
Yeah, Big Boss getting a big top 8.
Crazy run.
Leo's Joker, of course. With Sonic specifically, this is someone I play a lot in grind sessions. And Marcus was giving out a blessing, and I'm going to give out my blessing. I think Sonix is one of the best players in the world, for sure.
Oh, easy.
I feel like we've said that before.
Whenever I watch Sonix at a tournament, like, how many people can I say this for? When I watch Sonix play, I feel like I don't understand why you won't win this set. Like, why you can't just win every set you play. Like, I'll see him versus, like, you know, like MKLeo or Spargo or, like, the best of the best. And I'm like, I see you winning. Like, that is ridiculous. The character's really strong. Sonix is extremely strong with Sonic in every way, defense and offense. I
Yes.
give the crown to Sonix is Sonic. both of those, which says a lot because both are very ridiculously good to be good at with Sonic. Being the most patient and the most creative is crazy. Like, it's not fair. But yeah, Sonic's, like, skill wise, like, I don't know much about the rankings. It's a bit chaotic right now, you know. But it feels like Sonic's is the best of the best. And I don't see why Sonic's wouldn't win. You know what I mean? That's how good he is.
Oh.
So that's pretty scary because I can't think of another player to say that about that isn't like an obvious one. You know what I mean?
Uh-oh. That means Sonix is about to win a major soon because that keeps happening. Oh yeah, Riddles, man. Riddles.
We said this about Spargo before it happened.
Spargo's gonna win. Oh no.
Sonix is definitely like right there.
100%.
If not there already. That is the big thing I'm trying to get across. It's not like Sonix is on his way. Sonix is there.
I think we said this too after he won CEO. Remember that? That was when it really started.
Mm-hmm.
Really, like, we all knew. I think we'd been saying this for a while, and then CEO happened.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah. And then he just reminded us this weekend, I think.
Like, he's about to win
Yeah.
I think a big, like a ginormous tournament.
Yeah, he easily could. And we would be on this show like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
It's Sonic and it's Sonix. Like, why would you lose? I don't see it.
that, like, when I watch him, he's just so focused. Like,
Yes.
like laser focus, plays so much, studies so much. I remember he did an interview with Larry and he was talking about like how he writes down game plans for like every player and like different matchups. And he's like, Larry was like, how long does this take? And he's like, it could take a couple hours. And he's like, for each player, and he's like, yeah, like he's working so hard. And those are the things you don't see outside of the tournament. And the things you don't see on the screen, right? On the screen, you just see Sonic spin, woo. But Sonic go blue ball, wow. But dude works extremely hard, and that's why I'm such a huge fan because you can definitely see the work paying off.
Yeah,
it works with others as well. Works with Coach Tony a lot, and I mean when you're getting outside resources like that, Coach Tony, you know, from Florida, one of the best coaches to do it in the biz. So it's super sick to see Sonix have this success for so long, and we've known he's been so good for quite a bit. And on top of that, also has a ton of faith in his character. Like, he knows how broken Sonic is as a character.
Yeah.
The last time I talked to him, I think he said he does not think Sonic loses a single matchup in the game, and he thinks Sonic is like one of the best characters, if not the best character. So
he
like,
loses,
in terms of what he thinks of the
if
character.
he loses matchups, it might be like 2.
Aegis. That's the only one I can think of.
The only
one
I can
maybe
think of,
Fox. Maybe
the
Fox.
only ones I can think of are Fox, Aegis, and Roy.
Yeah, those are like the big ones, right? That
Um,
most people say.
I've heard Samus, but like the thing about Sonic, he's so broken that like he can come up with a game plan, I think, all the time.
Yeah,
Like the character's
definitely.
not fully developed yet, is what we're trying to say. You know what I mean? Like there could be so much more Sonic players are doing just because the character has so much amount of options. So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Bro, I saw him at the end of last year. He tweeted that he was live on Twitch. No spin dash elite smash challenge. I was like, so I tweeted at him because I had a few beers and I was like, genuinely curious. Like, why are you doing this? Like, what's the deal here? Like, are you trying to get better? And he said, yeah, I think it's a good way to get better. It's a good challenge for myself and it's good content. Like, basically, it's those two things. Like, everyone complains about him spin dash.
I feel like it helps
He's
with
like,
all of the possible hard matchups as well.
absolutely, yeah.
Mhm.
So that's why I was like genuinely curious. Why are you doing this?
Especially
Like,
a
what's the deal? And he
projectile
told me,
one
yeah.
that might be hard.
Yeah, exactly. Be more precise with my movement and baits is what he said. Like specifically
Yes.
that on top of everything else. So hell yeah.
I've done practice where I don't jump in neutral.
I thought you were gonna say no banana diddy, but no
Oh,
jump in
no.
neutral is way more hardcore than that.
I need that.
No jumping in neutral.
Not against me.
I
you
need the
don't. What
banana,
heck?
okay?
I jump too much, so sometimes I put the training weights on.
Everybody
Ooh,
jumps
okay,
too much.
okay.
It's ultimate.
It's ultimate. Yeah, what the
Yeah.
heck?
I know,
That's
but I
great.
jump too much in Smash 4. I did this in Smash 4 too.
Yeah, you. Oh,
You're a jumper,
the double jump back to center
He's a
on
jumper.
cloud, double jump air dodge. Oh man, that's the nervous tweak sign. The moment you saw that, hey, pack it up. Like,
Oh. And Jen too. Shout out to Jen. 9th
Yeah.
place.
dude,
Hell of a run for
Amazing.
Jen. Jake losing to Riddles right before top 8, but Jen had a hell of a run. I think we've all been Jen fans for a while on here. So
Yeah.
one of the best
Kronos
Palus.
doing really well again as well.
mhm.
3-0 Meister. How the
Snake
hell?
is just very
I think
relevant
Snake's
right now.
OD, bro. I used
Yeah.
to be a hater. I was like, bro, this character's disadvantage sucks. And now I think their advantage in neutral has caught up so much in the follow-ups off of grenades. Like they're always ready from anywhere. There's been so many like meta developments. I'm like, oh snap. I feel like Snake can win like pretty much any matchup. Still loses to Mimic though. See you.
Yeah, Snake is crawling their way back into the meta, which is cool because we're seeing multiple representation of the characters.
Yeah.
One of the
Multiple snakes
um,
did very well this
Yeah.
weekend.
Oh yeah, a lot. Snake and Rob basically, and a lot of Bayos too. Weirdly, top 128.
Shoutouts to the Big Boss versus Anathema set.
yeah,
Just
Banger.
killing each other at 0.
Yeah, dude.
Game
Big Boss
5, just
too.
brutal.
One thing about Sonix's run is that he went to losers very early.
Dude, Big
because
Boss.
because
Big
of Big
Boss's
Boss, exactly.
winners bracket run was pretty ridiculous. And if you look at winners,
Yeah.
Spargo did beat Big Boss, but low key, that should have been game 5 minimum.
And with
which is-
Spargo Sonix too, though.
exactly.
That F smash,
Bro,
I'll never
Dude,
forget
that
that.
F smash,
I'll never
it
forget
was
that.
angled up. If it was not angled up, he would have hit. But I
Would've
understand why he
hit.
angled it up. But like,
Mhm.
damn, it was just the hurt box shift on Pyro. It just makes me want to scream.
I know, dude.
That character is so.
That's how I felt versus like, dude, when I'm playing against Leo's Joker or Spargo's Cloud tournament, it's already so hard, and then I get reversal to a hurt box shift and
Bro,
take
Yeah.
infinite damage. It's not like I just get hit once. I die.
Oh my god.
okay,
That,
so
go ahead.
I was asleep. I message has this. I'm gonna say it on the podcast. I wasn't going to, but I fell asleep watching Sonic's Gluto. Right, like I was watching it. I was trying,
Yeah.
and I was like, I can't do it. So I fell asleep, and I actually woke up. Game 5 of you versus Spargo. Like I missed like the entire set,
Friends?
and yeah, or no, winners finals, and
Wait, Gluto Sonix was before Winners Finals?
Mhm.
Oh. So, yeah, that makes sense. Sorry. I've been doing this
Yeah,
so long.
just
I'm
in
still
losers,
bad at
yeah.
it.
yeah, and I wake up, and you like do a combo on the Town
Triple
City
up air.
platform, and you try to do runoff forward air, and he hits you with triple up air as he gets limit, and I was just like, oh no, this is not a good time to be waking up.
I can't afford to get hit by that.
This is not.
That one was on me. That
was you waking up into the Mr. Krabs meme like
Well, I did
immediately.
the hurt box shift for the up air. I was just like, dude, like, What?
And he had limit, and he's not afraid to go for finishing touch. Like, he is
Yeah.
not in those positions. I was so fucking scared that a finishing touch was coming because he does that shit, and then he runs with the momentum. He's so good at that.
Yeah.
But
So
he didn't.
like,
So
I just got to be. That's another thing. Like, I just have to be perfect. Like, not perfect, but I need to be more tight with my hits. Like, or acknowledge that to not go for the hit and just not get reversal too.
Or just know that something's not true. Like, understand, like, hey, this is a mix-up. This, like, follow-up is a risk because I could get hurt box shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you go in knowing that, it's way less tilt-inducing because it's like, oh, well, I took the risk, right? But then it's really tilting when you're
When
like,
you're
that
considering that
was
you're about
true.
to
That
get
was supposed to
hit.
be true. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Big Boss getting his first big top 8, right?
Big Boss
I
has
can't.
gotten like some at some other tournaments, like what was it? Port Priority, not last
Port
Port.
Party 6.
Yeah, Port Priority 6. He got top 8. That was probably his first like.
This
big
is his
one.
biggest
This
one,
one was.
probably.
This is his
Yeah.
biggest one in terms of how stacked this tournament was. This tournament was like.
well, plus win over Acola, win over Sonix is insane.
Yeah,
at
and the
this
wins,
point.
the
It's
wins
just
he
The
got.
winners
It's crazy.
bracket run was really good.
and an too, but I mean,
MKLeo versus Light was pretty crazy as well.
good set.
You know what I'd like to say about Leo's Joker that I'm sure a lot of people probably have realized is that it was improving as the bracket went on.
Yes.
And that's ridiculous. I expect that, but it's crazy that I expect that to be that rapid too. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Light won game 1, and I was like, oh, you better go Aegis or something, or Byleth. And then Leo didn't lose a game after that. and I'm usually really good at like predicting the flow of a set. That's something that's weird. I won this tournament, but when I was watching, you know how I randomly just say something's gonna happen and it happened, and it happens. I was wrong every time. And B would,
Dang, the players were mixing you, huh?
yes, and B would look at me and she'd be like, "You need to stop before you jinx yourself in tournament." Because I was like, I'm guessing right in bracket, but when I watch, I'm usually like so good at telling what's gonna happen, like just quick like that. I was wrong every fucking time. I was freaking myself out. I was like, Sonix is gonna neutral get up here. Nope. I was like, oh, like Leo's gonna do this, like Light's gonna do this. Never happened, and I'm just like, bro.
It's a good thing you were being wrong outside of bracket.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was
game.
like, how am I still winning? Like, I can't get into like the flow of the sets I'm watching. But it made it more fun though. Shoutouts to Gluto as well. But rough roll fighting your worst matchup.
That's
Had
all
some
they said.
counterplay, but counterplay for Sonic as Wario is like the dumbest, like most minuscule thing. Like, it's clearly being developed, but the matchup ratio is clearly still like not winnable.
Yeah.
So like, it is what it is. Like, I've seen Gluto like not go Wario versus Sonic, so we'll see what happens there. But Gluto had a good win versus Mia, which is also like Game & Watch is a really hard matchup. And as a Wario fan, and Gluto's like my favorite, I'm very curious to see how it develops.
He might be maybe to a fault, the example of a player that sticks with a character almost no matter what. Like 99% no matter what.
Him and Light getting the same placing, I think, kind of speaks to that. Like, they'll always be there, but they might get a rough matchup or like I think they both got like 5th or something. So it's like they could get anywhere between like 1st and like 5th.
Yep.
Right.
Because like, you know, regardless of what matchup they roll, they're sticking with it. But the thing is, they always make it work. Like once or twice, they'll like win a set you don't think is possible. So no point of doubting them. But when you're their fan, you would wish they like win another character or something.
Okay, speaking of, I have a question. It's kind of... So I was watching Riddles versus Sonix, right? Do you think Terry is worth it? And should it just be Kazuya Roy?
I was kind of thinking that too.
Oh, you're saying if you like replayed that set as Riddles, you like wouldn't even try Terry?
No, you mean going forward, right?
Going forward.
Yeah, I know what you're saying because it's like yeah, Terry does better against Sonic, but it's like, bro, it's Sonic versus a fighting game character. Like
in other matches,
remember our heavy conversation on the show,
right?
But But like,
Yeah, the heavy
which
conversation.
Yeah.
I think something important to keep in mind is when something is a true secondary, because he's truly Terry or Kazuya main at this point, right?
right.
And then like that's it,
Like a
which is
ridiculous
great,
percentage too.
right? Which is great. How much does Terry really help? I think is the question you're asking, right, Marcus? Like where,
Essentially, yeah.
like
Whenever
where,
Riddles pulls out Terry, it's better. But if you look at the ratio, it's like,
yeah, but
Is it worth?
why are
it's
you
gotta get you a
doing this?
dub. Well, that's the
Yeah.
other thing is if something's a secondary, it's never gonna be as good as your main, right? Like your Sephiroth is incredible, but it's not like your Diddy. Your Diddy's like, it's your Diddy. It won
Yeah.
a major
Well, I
solo,
mean-
basically. It's close. But well, the thing with the fighting game guys too, because I had the same to a lesser extent before Kazuya came out, I thought about playing Terry and Ken because the inputs are like the same, right? Like it should be pretty easy. There's something about it that's just so different. I don't know what it is. Like it just doesn't translate well. And since Kazuya's different too, like his jump squat and like he just feels so different. Like Ryu, Ken, and
Yeah.
Terry all kind of fit in the same bucket, and Kazuya's like a little like a cousin or something. Like he's close, but not the
Yeah.
same. It's like, is Terry? I see. I don't know, man. Is he worth it? Like, which matchups do you really need him for? That Kazuya can't brute strength his way through, kind of like we're saying with Gluto and Light. Like, just win because you're fucking Kazuya because you can kill anyone in one hit. Or do you really need to look at the hardest matchups that Kazuya has, like Sonic, and figure out what works for you? And then
Because it's
stick
Roy's
with
good.
Yeah,
So
I like
it
his
reminds
Roy,
me of
yeah.
it reminds me of when I'm playing Diddy's really good matchups. Like if I play a Ken player and they switch to Ryu and they're like, yeah, I have better projectiles. And it's like, are you really forcing me to like play any differently? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and even if it's
Wait.
better,
Yeah,
like
It is,
it's
right.
it's not better enough. And how I feel about it is like if Riddle switches off Kazuya into Terry versus Sonic, are you really forcing the issue? Like, is Sonic's really going to drastically have to be like, oh snap, I have to do this, this, and this? No. Sonic's game plan is going to be very similar. Terry just has a bit better burst range. Now it's like, okay,
More mobility.
crack shooters on the table.
and
Now,
he
I'm
also
not gonna lie,
loses.
that's a very easy adjustment.
Yep.
Just like I said with my example as a Diddy player. And, I wanted to bring up the heavy conversation we had. Shoutouts to Jackal, who had the DQ this weekend. He got sick, and I blame him, I think, for why I'm sick. Moving on. So he mentioned, he's like, why are you going to play X heavy or Y heavy? Just play the one that like hits you the hardest when they get a hit. Like, why are you trying to play the balanced one? They're only going to be so high on a tier list. And it's the same thing if you're Riddles and you're fighting Sonics. Put everything into the basket to kill when you get a hit. Go Kazuya, like Marcus said, go Kazuya, and then have the Roy for a backup. Like play a genuine matchup that is realistic, and but Kazuya is your best character, right? And if we look at like Sonic is just that good of a character where he will just you have no chance. He's just that strong. Same thing with Gluto. Like look at Wario versus Sonic. Waft isn't doable, right? You're not going to get any confirms. Wario's playing a stray hit game. How much damage does Wario do if he's just getting one hit per interaction? And then how much damage does Sonic do in a combo? It's ridiculous. It's like Fox sometimes. So just think of the ratio of that matchup. As good as the character as people may think Wario is, the ratio of that matchup could be something like humorously bad. And you can say the same thing for like even like Kazuya. And Kazuya can kill you in one hit. So imagine how bad it is for Wario.
And he can kill you in one hit in very specific scenarios after a minute and a half.
And it doesn't work on Sonic.
And it doesn't work on Sonic.
Yeah, so it's just like it's a tough situation. But yeah, like you might as well like gamble everything into the Kazuya and then have the Roy as a backup. But that's the other thing. It's a really tough situation if you're Riddles. Because this is like a matchup or two and like a player or two. Like, and that's how sometimes I feel with Sephiroth. Because disclaimer, I practice Diddy and Sephiroth equally. Fully equally. I played Sephiroth 0 times at Let's Make Big Moves.
Yep.
But I'm just sticking to it because I know there's going to be a couple brackets where I have to fight Steve, or I have to fight X character or Y
Gotta bring
character.
out the sword, man.
Gotta
bring out
fight
the-
Big D, and
Well,
you're like, oh man.
So
Yeah.
if that's worth it for you, then go for it. But it's not easy to like make that decision. Like,
Mhm.
But that's what was interesting too, though, because up until a certain point, you were kind of done with Sephiroth too, though. I'm committing solo Diddy completely, and then when you fought Big D, you were like, I'm just gonna do it Diddy, and he beat you game one. And you're like, fuck it, I'm going Sephiroth. And then that's what I'm saying about Terry is like, do you
Pussies.
for what Terry can do? Can you just pocket him and like just pick him for? I don't even know what fucking matchup you would do, because if it's not
there's probably a
something-
bunch, but it's not big enough of a difference.
That's what I'm saying though. Like you did it for Ice Climbers, which is like fucking impossible for Diddy. Like for him, you went from Sonic's impossible for Kazuya. Oh, it's also impossible for Terry. Like what's the fucking point?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're
it's 6-4 instead of 7-3 or something. Like, it's just like, it's like
If
okay,
that, yeah.
yeah.
It's still,
Now he has to play around crack shoot. Like, can Sonix like you're bringing in the conversation of can Sonix play around crack shoot? And the thing
Yes.
is, maybe
Yes.
a year, maybe more, like a year or two ago, where there wasn't that many Sonic players, and Sonic as a character wasn't developed because it took Sonic players years to figure out how to play the character because they couldn't spin dash into shield. So because of that, you didn't really have to worry about that in the beginning. But now we're at the point where there's a really, really like top 5 good Sonic player in these brackets, right? And he's gonna get far. You're gonna have to play him. So Riddles can't ignore the fact that you can't just bank on the fact that you're gonna dodge Sonics. You need an answer, and if your answer is
Because Riddles is going to get
Sonics
far
can't-
every time too. So.
Yep.
exactly. So it's like if you're banking everything on, can Sonix camp Kazuya and can Sonix camp out crack shoot? I don't think that's worth personally, because you're not like, at least with even Gavin's choice as a secondary, I don't agree with in terms of is it optimal, but the archetype is there. At the end of the day, Diddy is like this long range brawler. Like you can camp with Banana, but Banana is like a situational camping tool because is there a block? Is there a hydrant? Is there like something shutting Banana down? And then past the Banana, Diddy's a brawler. Oh, okay. If you can't do those things and win, you have a sword. So it's like, at the end of the day, I don't think Sephiroth's the most optimal sword character, but Tweek makes it work. So, but at the end of the day, he's got a sword, right? And he can play towards that strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Riddles, it's like, I'm a fighting game character with crack shoot. That's it. That's
Right.
really all it is.
It
And it's
reminds
like,
me
hey,
of,
if your
like-
opponent can play around that, you need another archetype. You need something else. And Roy is just such a clear, easy cut of an answer because Roy is also low maintenance. You want a low maintenance secondary. So I think Roy just fits the bill. And on paper, Roy feels like the correct answer.
It's Roy or Aegis, right? Like that's kind of
Yeah.
where we're at with this pick. And for Aegis, I mean, Sonix beat Leos' Aegis and Cosmos and had a good set against Sparko's Aegis. So if I'm looking at that, I'm like, fuck that. I'm not trying to compete with all those either Aegis mains or co-mains, because Sonix is going to put work in that matchup too. So
Yeah.
I think Roy might be the
And
call.
he
I
grinds
like
with
this Roy
Cola.
too.
Cola
Yeah.
can just tell him why, like while he's learning Roy, Cola can just be like, yeah, your Roy sucks because of this. Because of XYZ. You know what I'm saying? Like
He will. I'm sure he does.
I'm keeping it a buck.
I'm sure he does.
Your main grinding partner, like I see Cola and Riddles grind so much at tournaments.
Yeah.
So you
I have faith that he'll
the
figure it
best
out.
Roy player to give you advice.
Riddles is
I might not
always
say it
good in the
nicely,
bracket,
but
so
you'll
he's
tell
gonna
me.
figure it out.
Bro, he
But
loves shutting up haters too. So, and that would certainly do that because
it reminds me of like, this is a funny example because Sonix did lose to BigBoss's Rob, but it reminds me of like when people suggest like certain matchups being hard for Sonic, and I always just have a bunch of question marks like above my head because like let's use Rob for example. It's like the first thing that comes to mind. It's like, yeah, I have laser and gyro to deal with like X and Y with Sonic, and I'm like, okay, so they just have to like be the fastest character in the game and play around
And
those
run
two
and grab
projectiles.
your item and then spin dash after grabbing your item.
So it's like it's like, oh, like, and with Terry as the example, it's even easier to explain to anyone, right? Like, yeah, like Kazuya doesn't have this, but Terry has this, so it's like, oh, you're a fighting game character with this option, and I'm just going to continue to play a very slightly varied game plan of the same super dominant oppressive game plan. And dude, especially in a best of 5, like Gluto or Riddles, like those are back to back with songs. It's like, bro, those two winning one game is so impressive. Like I pretty much consider it a W. Like so, Gluto getting that one game is like, wow, you made huge strides. But it's like, bro, you have to win in this matchup, and you need to win 3 games before they do.
Yeah.
Hell
Dude,
no.
that WAF
Hell
barely
no.
whiffed too. Remember that? Was that game 4 for Gluto? The air
Yeah.
dodge? But like you said, it doesn't work, so that's a part of the matchup. But it was still really
Well,
close.
It wasn't true, and Sonic has a frame 2 air dodge. So.
Yep.
Not fair. I mean, Fox
And one of the best
terrible.
ledge hangs in the game. Sonic's disadvantage is a little too strong for what the character does, but that's a topic for another day.
That's a
Those
Patreon
springs.
episode. See you.
Yeah. Which we have to do. It is January. So.
Oh,
yeah, true. Hey, check out the Patreon, by the way.
Yeah, it's been doing great. We really appreciate it. I feel like it. We had B on the show. She was a bit shy, but she was like, "Okay, I'll do it. I'll start with a Patreon episode." You know what I mean? Like a good way to start out. And I think she did great. But yeah, doing like a guest episode on the Patreon, and I feel like we got a bunch of supporters, and I appreciate that. So yeah, if you're interested, we do record a bonus episode every month. We answer questions if tier 2 patrons have any. Yeah.
Hey, the big bucks.
Sometimes I cheat and answer the tier 1 questions, but don't tell anyone I said that.
Oh no, we're gonna get so much submissions.
No, but we'll for sure answer every tier 2 question. Not
Exactly,
for sure
exactly.
answer every tier 1 question. You'll be in line behind everyone else who paid more, obviously.
Yeah, it's funny because sometimes it will only have like a handful, so I'll be like, it's fine. But yeah, fantastic event. No bias. I had a great time. The cool thing about it is like, you know, it's like one of our biggest things. I'm from Tri-State, so I didn't have to fly. B and I like took the train there and back. We had a good time in New York City. I'm sure Charles is jealous of the pizza we ate and stuff like that.
So jealous.
Yeah, shout outs to
New York
Max
pizza's so
and
dope.
Max and Joe and stuff. And thanks to y'all and everyone in the venue that was really happy to see me succeed and win. Like that felt great. And it's kind of crazy that I won this tournament series twice now.
Yep. You won the very first one, right?
Let's make
Very
it.
first one.
In
Long,
like
it feels
20
like
yeah,
a century
2018,
ago.
right?
With
normal
Donkey
size
Kong,
moves.
Wario. Wow,
And
what a throw!
Donkey Kong, Wario, and Crom.
And Crom.
Crom.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was the Crom. Yeah, back when
Yep.
you
That
could
was
do
the start. That was one of the big starts of my Wario in bracket. Because Cosmos and I won doubles, and I used Wario because it's Wario in doubles. It was just like, you know, the game is
Classic.
new, but it sounded like it made sense at the time. And Wario is definitely pretty solid in doubles.
This must have been
And-
a long time ago if you were playing doubles.
Doubles, yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And all the top players we played against was like, bro, Tweek, your Wario is your best character. And I was like, really? And I played Wario in singles that tournament because of the people around me. And I ended up winning with Wario. Like, I didn't plan on it. So yeah, that is just kind of a beautiful moment in my life
Oh,
because
man.
the game was so new that, you know, we were all figuring it out. So
That was a really fun time for Ultimate. Dude, we got Dabuz's
Palu.
oh jeez, yeah, Palu popping up here too. Sorry, it messed with me because her neutral air hadn't got patched yet, so it was so slow.
Oh, it took
You know what I'm
so
saying?
forever
Yeah.
to do. Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, Dabuz's Palu, dude, what a throwback! Holy
Yeah.
shit!
I've played it a
Good
couple times over the years. We've done like Joker, Palu. It's just some weird stuff. Yeah, Dabuz was one of those people I was chatting with about like just practice in general. So shouts to Dabuz too. We need to get Dabuz to pick up like someone else though.
Palu again.
Does anyone want to help me figure that out? Like have like
Oh, I
an
wonder.
intermission with like intervention with
We gotta save Dabuz.
with
Oh.
Dabuz. Like just sit him down and like give him the character select screen and be like, pick between one of these characters, and it's like all the messed up characters in this game.
I've actually had conversations with him about it. It just sucks because
Steve.
I say Steve. I think the on paper answer is Steve, but he doesn't enjoy playing the character. He really enjoys playing Rosa, but Rosa has some
The Rosa is
obvious
different.
limitations. Yes, there's some clear limitations.
Did he really go pit versus light?
Yep.
I heard, yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Sheesh.
Dude, the buzz is down bad, bro. The pit is coming out in bracket. The pit. Oh man.
That's not
Can't-
good.
I'm gonna be honest.
Uh-huh.
I don't play Pit. I don't play Fox. Pit Fox sounds kind of hard.
I think
Kinda.
Fox
If Pit
outclasses
gets
almost
hit
every
one
way.
time, what
What the hell
happens?
does Pit even do? Like, what do you do?
Oh,
Okay.
you're like a neutral Fundies character? Oh, I'm Fox.
Yeah.
Fox is the neutral fundy character.
Yeah.
Well,
Honestly,
no
I
funnies. but-
mean,
Yeah, you could
his
say
pit
neutral.
was kind of crazy,
Neutral.
low key.
Huh?
His pit was kind of stupid. I'm not gonna hold.
It's like the one game I missed, so
yeah.
Oh, did he take a game?
No,
not
Oh,
with Pit.
no.
That's crazy.
But I mean, it did well. You know.
He took a game with Olimar.
Oh, come on. If you're going to say Riddles has to drop Terry, you cannot be talking this Pit up. Come on.
Oh no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
oh,
come on.
no!
What is
I'm
this
not
shit?
endorsing.
We
I'm
know
not endorsing this pit. You know who I endorse because I tell Dabuz to play the same character every time we bring it
Min-min.
up. Because
What is it?
doesn't make sense for
Min-min.
Min-min.
Oh
Min-min,
yeah.
of course. Yeah. Min-min fits
Min-min
great. I would love it
Steve-
if
I
Halu-
wish
Min Steve main.
Not Steve.
Ooh,
He doesn't
I
want
don't
to
know,
do Steve.
Steve.
You can't
whatever
force
it
him.
takes.
You can't
him to
force
do that.
anyone to play Steve if they can't do
No.
it.
Yeah.
Wrong generation.
Especially-
He's a brawl player.
yeah.
You can't do it.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
it depends on when you
It's-
started.
It is literally generational for the most part.
Yeah.
We also got to
real
shout out
quick-
Umebura, right?
We do, yeah.
Yeah, I
We
was
can
just gonna
wrap it up
say.
with that.
Oh, true. This
Aquolo
episode
is dominant.
Yeah.
very much
like-
so.
Like we said, the big four coming into Genesis. You, Acola, Leo, and Spargo. But, dude, I mean, all four of you can make top 8. None of you can make top 8. Very unlikely, but
I don't
it
know
is
about
possible.
that one.
It's possible. It's possible. That's
It's-
just how
I
great
guess-
Genesis is.
Would bet obscene amounts. Of
Yeah,
money
me
that
too.
that
Like
would
thousands of
happen.
dollars.
Yeah,
that,
like
That one of you would make top 8.
that one of the four of us.
I don't know.
Oh
about
well,
that.
yeah.
Maybe even two.
What are the odds? What are the odds?
I would
That's
even
what I'm saying.
I would
We
even
need
bet
odds.
obscene amount of money on 2 of the 4. Like I
We
would
need
risk
fatality to tell us the side betting odds on this one. We do. Good old Griffin on the side bet. Yeah, Cola won. T got second. T very, very, very consistent as
it. He
well.
is also one of the most dominant players
Yeah.
in Smash, not only just Japan.
I need to see Yoshi.
He is the face you see in top
tournament.
8. You know what I mean?
I know. We do need to see. Dude, he has them putting Yoshi top tier. Like Yoshi top 3.
Dude.
What the hell is going on?
That's
Wait, was Ken at this tournament?
I
Didn't
don't
Ken beat
remember.
Yoshidora? Did Ken like just have?
I can't remember who beat.
Was
Yoshidora.
Yoshidora's losers run that big, or was I looking at
It was a
different
long. It
tournament?
was a pretty long losers run.
Okay,
Um,
because didn't Ken
Or-
beat Yoshidora?
4. I think you should 4 or 5. Maybe Shoutout beat Yoshidora.
So maybe I was looking at a different tournament.
You might
So
be
I did-
right though. I don't. I do not remember.
Maybe Ken wasn't here. Maybe I should shut up because I don't know much
Or
about this
maybe
event
you-
because I
you
was
were in
at
New York.
a
What the
different
heck?
tournament.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
well, we know top 8. So
All right, there we go. We
Yeah.
got it here. Yeah, lost
Was it
to
Ken?
T and Ken. There you go. You
Okay.
got it,
Yeah,
Ken.
Well,
there
look
you
at you.
Let's
You
go.
got it.
and this tournament was crazy.
So
Oh,
where-
it was
Yeah,
insane.
Yumeki,
It was
dude. Yeah.
insane.
So Yoshidora's
It-
run had to be crazy if Ken
It
didn't
was
get top
long.
8.
Yeah, it was long.
This is
It's
a
top
classic.
48. Yeah.
That's
This is
a
a
lot of
classic
wins.
Japanese tournament.
Round
Umebura
one.
has been a
Yeah.
series that's been going on forever in Japan. Shout out to
I feel like it's
Meki,
one of those
who
things
is the
where
main
like
TO.
all the people at Let's Make Big Moves wanted to watch it, even though we were playing. Like it's
Yeah.
one of those tournaments, you know.
Yeah.
I love those tournaments, the crossover events. But it did suck because we didn't have any Japanese players that Let's Make Big Moves, and they obviously didn't, it's whatever, man. Didn't work out. But obviously it's gonna happen at Genesis. That'll be a good one. Before we wrap up today, a couple shout outs. As you notice, we have a new layout here. Our producer Chris has been hard at work creating new layout here. It looks really, really nice. He did a great job.
Yeah.
And like Gavin said at the beginning of the episode, B as well. Changing the color scheme looks very good. Orange, my favorite color, so that worked out well. Orange and green looking good. We're going with versions now instead of seasons, so fits in line with Tweek's branding there a little bit. So we thought that was a good decision to make. And then the last one is that in addition to, so this is our first episode of the year, so we also want to announce, what's up? What are you laughing at? I'm trying
So
my
Marcus,
best.
I think, was like looking down at his phone or something,
Trying
Oh,
my best.
I'm trying my best. Stop
and
laughing at me.
I
Leave me
thought
alone,
Look
I'm
at
trying my
this.
best.
I thought Marcus fell asleep for a second, y'all.
Oh, he do be sleeping. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that.
Wait,
But
wait.
Yeah, what is
did
this?
Like,
This is
oh, yeah, that's
beautiful.
I
what
didn't know.
I'm
I didn't
saying.
know Gluto Sonix was playing.
Is
Hold
this a
up.
Mario Party like mini game? Are we about to fight?
Okay,
Duke
buddy.
it out?
all right.
Oh,
And
sick!
then
I
we
got the top
also
player on my team. Let's go.
very, very exciting. Oh yeah. Oh, this is sweet. Yeah, this is a sweet layout. Very, very exciting development for Tweek Talks is we are working with an individual who goes by Haramski, and he translates Smash Ultimate content to Japanese. And now Tweek Talks, we've been working with him, and we're going to be doing Tweek Talks translated to. He's going to do Japanese subtitles for it, which is very, very exciting for several different reasons. So, yeah, check that out. He's been doing
Check
it
the
for a
channel out,
while,
yeah.
but yeah, now it's like super official, and we're really, really happy to be working with him. We've actually wanted to for a long time, but it just kind of fell off the radar, and now it's back on. So we're super happy. We love, and probably one of our favorite things, definitely one of my favorite things about Ultimate is how global it is. So being able to reach a whole new audience and a new set of people is really important to us. So
Yeah.
we're really happy we can make that happen.
It's crazy
and,
how popular it is.
Yeah.
The show is like in different places. So thank you for that.
Yeah. So new season, off to a good start here. New color scheme, new merch is coming out. New version. Thank you. Good call. New version is strong. We'll have the merch. We'll get the link to the merch, the link to the Japanese translation, to everything. We'll put it all in the info there, so we'll get it all going there. But we're pretty excited. It's gonna be a good season. It's gonna be a good version.
There we go.
All right, that's it. Go ahead, Gavin. Sign us out.
Yeah, thank you so much for everything supporting the show. Shouts to Max and Joe and everyone for running a fantastic event, all the TOs, and yeah, thank you so much. Have a good one.
See you.